Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Snap Material Comics. Nope. The Snap Material Podcast, where we talk about Marvel Snap, the mobile card game. Very popular. A lot of people play it. I know I do. We know a bunch of people that do. It's me, Jesse Starcher. That's Evan Bevins sitting right over there. We're going to be discussing last season, which was, going to my notes,
Prehistoric Avengers.
Prehistoric Avengers. We're going to be discussing the upcoming season. One season that I think you and I, Evan Bevins, can appreciate at least in title, What If?
Indeed.
I'm very much excited about that. We also are going to talk about our unlocks, our meta thoughts for the season. We got a top 5. We've got a surprise for Evan Bevins here towards the end. We're going to have a good time. So let's jump in and start talking about last season, Prehistoric Avengers. Started March 4th, 2025. Our first card, premiere card, comes with the season pass. Agamotto, 5 cost.
Gesundheit.
5 cost, 10 power. Oh my goodness, here we go. Just sit back and relax as I list you all the fun things that Agamotto can do. You shuffle 4 ancient arcana into your deck, one of which is a 1 cost, 0 power temporal manipulation. On reveal, give Agamotto plus 3 power. Put him into your hand if he's not in play, and then you banish it. Banish that spell. It's gone. You see it there, and then it disappears. Then you have what I am going to probably say is one of my most hated cards in Marvel Snap right now. And that is Winds of Watoomb, 2 cost, 0 power on reveal. Afflict an enemy card here with -5 power and move it to the right. Banish it. Then you have the Bolts of Balthak. Boy, that does not sound right.
I don't know about that. You know, Watoomb is the sound the winds make when they throw your card to another location.
It's the same sound my phone makes, too. Pretty crazy. Wow. As I throw it. Bolts of Balthak, 3 cost, 0 power. On reveal, next turn you get +4 energy. Banish that card. Banish that spell. Images of Icon, 4 cost, 0 power. On reveal, transform your other cards here into copies of the highest power 1. Then banish that. Oh my gosh, did I hate this card this season. This is an insta retreat for me, and it was for most of the, as soon as I saw. And I think they started figuring it out because you did not get the animation every single time. But when somebody had that card in their deck, you would see the spell, and you'd see Agamotto there, and then off it goes into the guy's deck, and off I go to hit retreat. I can say that I had varying success when I did sometimes play the card. I feel like I won just as much as I lost, but that Winds of Watoomb, I'm telling you right now, ruined my day every single time. I'm not a fan. We talked about it last season. I asked if it was OP. And I took the stance that I feel like it's OP, but I don't hear too many people complaining on Reddit. I don't see it a whole lot. I've seen some here and there.
Oh, you mean about Agamotto specifically?
Reddit is Reddit. Yes, Reddit is rife with people complaining every single time. I still think that if I would have spent the money to get this season, I probably would have used him a lot just because he is pretty strong. And I think that's a lot of the reason why. Like, let me give you an example here real quick, and then I'll let you talk. Winds of Watoomb essentially ruined one of my decks that I really enjoy playing, and that is my Namora deck. It all counts on having cards where they need to be. And it's just not Winds of Watoomb. If I'm playing against a move deck that's got Spider-Man in it or Scream, I'm still retreating as soon as I see that. So, I could have just switched up my deck. But anyway, I'm done complaining here. What were your thoughts on Agamotto here?
I was a little worried it might be, if not, I guess OP was what I initially thought. I was like you, I won some, I lost some. I didn't feel like it was an instant loss or a probable loss when I saw they had it. Winds of Watoomb, Images of Icon, all of them pretty much, I felt like were good cards on their own, let alone springing from one pretty significant card. But like I said, I won some, I lost some. I didn't feel like I was outmatched against it. I thought it actually came out rather balanced.
Okay.
In fact, I know I said last time, I'm just like, I'd already decided I wasn't getting the season pass before I even knew what it was. It just wasn't that time. I was building up my credits. I hadn't really decided what I thought about the card. And after seeing it, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good, but it's not a game breaker. And I had a bunch of tokens saved up, and I was like, oh, I want this. I'm waiting for Agamotto to come in the store. I'm going to grab him when he comes up. I think he'd be pretty interesting to play. And actually, I want to put him in a Nomura deck because since he has all these cards that disappear, he'd be great to be sitting alone at a location and get boosted up by Nomura.
That's a great point.
The only real problem I have with him is that guy who doesn't wear a shirt and he wants everybody to know he's not wearing a shirt. That's what Agamotto reminds me of. Like, get an animal pelt or something, dude. Nobody wants to see that.
Put something over your chest.
We're doing magic today? Oh, let me stretch a little bit.
Pay no attention to my hands, but please pay attention to my pecs.
By the abs of Adonis, I cast thee out. That's the vibe I got from Agamotto. It's like, come on, dude, let's save the world or whatever.
Put a shirt on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was feeling. I was kind of skeptical of it. I was like, about this. Looking at each of those cards, it feels like that's a little too much, but I just didn't see that in practice. I mean, it messed me up sometimes, but no more so than other cards do. I came around. You might say I've got my eye on Agamotto.
No, look out.
Wait, that doesn't really work with the whole shirt thing. Yeah, I would if he just put a shirt on. And didn't really think this through, but yeah, I'm going to get the card and just hope I get a maybe a winter variant where he's got to wrap himself in a fur or something like that.
Yes. All right. Next up,
he doesn't have a shirt, but there's a reason for that. It doesn't bother me, but Agamotto, I don't know. There's a little exhibitionist streak to him. I don't know.
Next up, Eson, the Searcher. Is that correct? Eson the Searcher. 6 costs. 10 power. After each turn, put a created card from your hand here. Wow. I really like this card. When we recorded last time, I had mentioned that it was shortly after it had come out, and I dig it, man. You got Nick Fury in your hand. That's usually what I was able to pull off pretty easily, getting Nick Fury and bringing in some big-time cards. I had an Eson deck put together pretty quickly. It was mostly, I had Madam Web in there so I could move the cards. Yeah. I stuck Eson, I think, with Airsham. That was a bunch of fun. I didn't care if I won or lost. The fun was getting all these other cards and getting them out there and seeing what could happen with the game. How about you?
I used them with Airsham, my Airsham Pixie deck, where it's mainly just 1s and 6s because Airsham will fill in the others. Pixie.
Man, I don't see Pixie a lot. I saw somebody play Pixie, and I ended up retreating because they played Pixie. Here's the way this worked. They played Pixie, right? I don't know what turn that happened. Pixie's what, a 2 or 1?
Yeah.
1, 2? She's 2? All right, so turn 2, Pixie comes out, and then turn 3 is White Palace. So I get their highest power card. Is that how that works?
Highest power.
Highest power. I get a 0-cost 12 power Hulk in my hand.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, wow, nice. Okay, all right, great. And then as I'm playing, turn 4 rolls around, and they lay out Moon Girl. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, now they have 2 0 12 Hulks in their hand. Nice. Retreat. But anyway, that was a pretty, I don't have Pixie, but I've always been kind of like, man, I'd like to just because of the randomness. But the Moon Girl stuff actually started to make sense. Like if you got Moon Girl in your hand and you got some really low, just go ahead and double what's in your hand. Anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. But yeah, so that was the first thing I did. I did make an Eson deck. I had to find it. I got with high voltage and a lot of cool new cards, I started running out of deck space. So I deleted some that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. I had it since Eson's the Searcher. I called my deck The Search is Over. Eson's a survivor, But yeah, just got a bunch of cards in there to pull others out. Agent 13, Mirage, Hawkeye, Coulson, Nick Fury, Blink, Iron Lad, Jubilee, trying to get Eson or at least his ability out there early. Like I said, I definitely used him in the Airsham deck with Pixie. Sometimes that works, sometimes it didn't, but you've got a bunch of created cards there and a chance to get him out earlier. Mm-hmm. So there's some cards coming up in the new season emphasizing the created card thing. There's a lot of cool ones you can work with. You're not going to hear this kind of analysis on any other Snap podcast or platform. Mm-hmm. Eson spelled backwards is nose.
Oh man, I had no idea.
And he doesn't seem to have one.
No, he does not.
Oh, I mean, what? I'm not trying to tell you what to think, but
All right, next up, Starbrand, 3 cost, 10 power. Ongoing, your opponent has +3 power at each other location. I did see Enchantress a few times with, actually, it was more along the lines of just somehow getting rid of that ongoing power. I saw Enchantress a couple times. When Starbrand came out, usually I was a little bit worried because, I mean, it's a lot of power for such small cost, and then they're going to figure out a way to nullify that other +3 at the other locations. I saw him quite a bit this season. How about you?
Yeah, I got him, and I saw him a lot. And one of the rare occasions my prediction was right, saw a lot more Sauron decks, even before they adjusted Sauron down to a 2/2, which was a shame because it put a crimp in my Surfer Sauron deck. Anytime I consider putting a 3-cost card in my deck, I'm like, I'm going to put Silver Surfer in here. He doesn't always stay, but I always give it a try. So yeah, I had that for a while. I brought my Sauron deck back, but didn't have a lot of luck with it. So eventually it kind of worked its way out, but I've got another Surfer deck I was messing around with today, and I'm thinking, I need to try Starbrand in there, but I need somebody to shut his power down too. I'm still afraid to put Zero in a deck. If he pops up at the wrong time, that's trouble. I've got a deck that I use a lot that has Blade in it, and every once in a while, Blade will slice off that card on the end. I'm like, no, I needed that one. Knock it off, dude. But yes, Starbrand was interesting. I mean, a lot of these cards this season, you're like, okay, what can I do with this? There's a lot of different approaches to take, and so yeah, he's an interesting one.
Firehair, 2 cost, 3 power. When one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's on reveal. I went for this one, and I got it. I put Firehair in a deck. I gotta say that it definitely wasn't one of those cards that's going to turn the game around as much as I wanted it to be, because my initial thought was, okay, get her in something with Wong and then start, double up these on reveals if you can. The problem is that you've got to destroy those other cards at the other location in order to get this stuff activated. And it's so late in the game, you kind of don't want to start messing with your cards that you have out there. You want to keep that. Now I just laid Carnage out, killed these 2 on reveals, and I'm not getting much for it. Now, granted, I only messed with her for probably about a week. That's probably about a week to a week and a half. I was putting Firehair in some decks, and I think that there's still potential there. I just got to figure out a good deck to get her in. So, Firehair for you, sir.
I put her in every deck. I used her in High Voltage. I put her in my Body Slide by No Fun deck because I already had some doubling up in there, and I found the perfect teammate for her. Here's the thing. I believe that at some point Stan Lee was talking to Jack Kirby, Roy Thomas, and those guys, and he said, look, I think we're going to be here for the long haul. X-Men, it's doing pretty good, but I'm building towards something here. You see that girl, the redhead, Jean Grey in X-Men? Eventually, we're going to reveal that she had a cave woman ancestor who had this incredible cosmic power. And now, over here, Amazing Spider-Man, another popular title. That girl, Liz Allen, that he's kind of on again, off again with, one day she is going to bond with the living grandchild of Spider-Man's new suit, and she and Jean Grey are going to team up. And Cave Woman Jean Grey are going to team up. Misery and Firehair.
Misery and Firehair.
Firehair went in the deck, and Misery was to follow.
All right, Misery, remind me, because this is one of the symbiotes that I didn't get and I really wanted. Destroys the cards. Does the on reveal again?
Does their on reveal again? Okay, and let's see. So I thought I had her with. Well, at one point I had her with Joaquin Torres too, and I think I did that. But yeah, so in Body Slap by No Fun, it's all about taking cards away or messing up people's decks. So you got Iceman in there, Yondu, Cable, Red Guardian's in there, Baron Zemo's in there, and then even though she doesn't fit with the theme with Misery and Firehair, I brought in White Tiger.
Oh, okay.
So you get a lot of those on reveals on there. Most of them are lower cost. I mean, Iceman's a 2, Cable's a 3, White Tiger's a 1, Baron's a 5. That can sting a little. So you play them. Let's say you put Yondu, Cable, and White Tiger on one location, and then you got Firehair somewhere else. Then you drop Misery on turn 6. You do those 3 times. So you can have 3 Tiger Spirits on the board.
Yeah, dude.
And I got Werewolf by Night bouncing around everywhere on top of that.
Smart.
I don't even know if it's a full mill deck anymore, but I put Venom in there in case Misery doesn't show up. I got Red Guardian, so Firehair can take somebody's ability away and reduce them by 2. I've got America Chavez in there right now, but a lot of times I use Silver Sable. So Firehair can do that. Definitely had her in my high voltage deck too. I just put her in just about every deck. Now, is it because she's that effective a card or I'm that great a strategist? Or is there something about the combination of Jean Grey and Wilma Flintstone that I find irresistible? I don't know. I'm just telling you what happened, man.
I hear you.
Yeah, I got Firehair in there a lot. And yeah, found lots of places for her. And I mean, that's what's cool about a lot of these cards this season is you can use them in different things. I don't want to rag on it because it's a fun card, but like Red Wing, there's only so much you can do with Red Wing. So in certain places, maybe there's not only one deck, but like Red Wing, there's only so much you can do. A lot of these cards, it feels like they can really go in different places and you can try different things and kind of merge metas or things like that. So yeah, Firehair was a good acquisition for me. All
right. Khonshu, okay. Sit back and relax. Here we go with the multiple crazy abilities that we got going on here. Khonshu is a 6-cost 5 power, but if you can discard it, you can do phases, and it returns in its next phase. So it goes away from your hand and back into your hand. And that on reveal, if you can't get it discarded, is resurrect a card you discarded to another location with its power set to 5. If you can get it discarded into its next phase, it becomes a 6-cost 8 power. And when you resurrect the card, or when you lay it out there, it will resurrect a card you discarded at another location with its power set to 7. If you can get it discarded 2 times into its final phase, 6-cost 12 power. On reveal, resurrect a card you discarded to another location with its power set to 12. And yes, I almost discarded Khonshu a third time one time, and I would have been really upset.
I have discarded Khonshu a third time.
I remember it was really strong on this one last time we talked, and I immediately got it. I spent a lot of keys. I definitely wanted Khonshu because I felt like this was a very powerful card, and I don't think I was wrong. This is a card that, if you can get going, it can make a difference in a game. I really started to gravitate towards discard before all this stuff started happening. Now it's interesting to see everybody is like, half the decks that I'm looking at or playing, and maybe even more than that now, are discard. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because of Khonshu. So what are your thoughts on Khonshu this season?
Oh, yeah. It's still a little weird for me that he's a big bird skeleton, because I remember back in the day when I didn't know much about Moon Knight except that he was the coolest looking dude in the Avengers. Khonshu just looked like Moon Knight with, more Egyptian motif. But yeah, it's another card that there's a few different ways you can use him. I was obviously mainly a discard deck. And then what I wanted to do was get some cards that had good abilities but didn't have a lot of power. So with the stuff I experimented with, pretty much all the time his running mates were Iron Man and White Tiger.
Oh, okay. Good idea.
Yeah. Morbius, not only for the discard, but if you bring him back with Khonshu, then he's a 5, 8, or 12 plus 2 for however many cards.
Right. Right.
Got Dracula in there too. Tried him with Hela a couple times. I used to play Hela a lot, and they keep adjusting her, and I just don't quite know what to do with her at this point. So I actually have him in a deck right now with Apocalypse. Somebody's getting discarded. If you don't draw one, I remember a game or two where I did not draw Khonshu or Apocalypse for the entire game. But I got enough stuff in there that you're not dependent on any one card. Eventually put Proxima Midnight in there. Yep. It's pretty cool. I remember it stuck in my head a long time ago that they were trying to come up with more than one way to do discard. I think they've got that now. A lot of people still use Hela. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Hela. I just haven't figured out maybe not how to make her work, but I don't know. I look at the other options and I tend to go away from her. Right now I got Khonshu, Apocalypse, Iron Man, White Tiger, Dracula, and Morbius, and then Meek in there to pick up a few more discard bonuses. You got to have Moon Knight. Sif, the next card we're going to talk about. If you're going to discard a bunch of low power cards, this is the guy you want to have doing it.
And that is the first Ghost Rider, 2 cost, 5 power. On reveal, discard the lowest power card from your hand and remove that card's power from this. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We got something wrong last time. You cannot discard a negative power and add it to the power of Ghost Rider. Unfortunately, it is a 0. no
Yes,
matter what.
I found that out after I built an entire deck based on that concept.
Well, we're
Goblins,
just
the hood. I'm like,
a
wait
couple
minute.
sad losers over here because I did the exact same thing. I had Hobgoblin, and my first deck, the first time I played that deck, I had that combo ready to go. I discard Hobgoblin with first Ghost Rider, and nothing happens. And I'm like, wait a second, what is the deal? Now, I think that what I was shooting for was an Annihilus deck with Ghost Rider, first Ghost Rider in there, and I ended up winning, but it's because I was able to use Annihilus and save my butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I thought this was going to be a situation where we could discard that would have gave it more avenue, a better variety for the meta, in my opinion. You now have Ghost Rider in that deck and in discard decks as well. So I built a whole deck around it just like you did, and then I was like, oh, crap. So now what do I got to do? I ended up doing, I think, is kind of like what you were talking about, throwing them in a Khonshu deck because you can, get rid of Swarm. And immediately Swarm's gone. You got 2 more in your hand. Just make sure Swarm's the lowest one in your hand, and you're going to be you'd be sitting all right. So, I mean, I found a little bit of use for him, but this was the prize for the high voltage special event this season. I'm not going to say I was let down. I'll just say that I felt like it became a bit of a grind towards the end just to try and get this thing. And boy, what a letdown it was when I put it all in that deck and then watched it not work like I wanted it to. But anyway, go ahead, man. What were your thoughts?
You mentioned the first time you used that deck. Mine's experience was similar, but it was the only time I used that deck. I don't even know what was in it because I immediately deleted it.
Yep.
I didn't. Usually, I take a screenshot. Like when I delete a deck, I'm like, I might come back to this later, and half the time I don't.
Right.
But yeah,
That's
I was just like, He works really well in the Khonshu deck. The way I've got it set up, he targets the one with the lowest power. I like it that it's not random. But the fact of the matter is that the effect of the card, even if we hadn't expected it, is just not as cool as a Ghost Rider on a Flaming Woolly Mammoth.
Oh, no, you got me there.
The reason I thought that would work is Lasher, who wasn't Lasher the last high voltage prize? I think so. Lasher got hit by something and turned negative, but I had already activated him, and he added to their power. So I'm like, well, this should
work. Yeah, that's the way first Ghost Rider should work, right?
Yeah, but twas not to be, but he works pretty well in that deck. I don't know that the Khonshu deck really is any more effective than any other, but it's fun to mess around with. It's definitely a fun deck. When we talk about the meta, there were only a couple things I had any kind of luck with this season. I mean, not luck, any consistency with.
All right. As we get into locations here, our first one was Starbrand Crater. If you have 10 or more power here, +1 energy each turn. Both situations where locations came up, I wasn't playing that much that day. Now, Starbrand Crater, I've seen it quite frequently since it's been spotlighted. It's helpful, but usually I'm not trying to get 10 or more power there. I'm trying some kind of weird finesse stuff or something, and then at the end, drop a bunch of power. So might not help me a lot through the game. But yeah, it was there. Whether it made much of a difference, I can't really tell you. How about you?
Yeah, it's useful if it works into the strategy you already have. As nice as it is to have extra energy, it's usually not worth just focusing on that lane. If you've got a lot of power, it's good to try to get as much power as you can in there, but it's not like the raft, where if I don't win the race on the raft, I might lose the game. It doesn't have that sense of urgency. With the raft, I'm like, well, I know what my strategy should be, but
yeah.
But I'm not going to do it here. Yeah, it can certainly be useful. I mean, you're never going to turn down extra energy.
Right.
But not a motivator to change everything you're doing.
Celestial Burial Ground, discard a card, replace it with one that costs the same. I was kind of upset that I didn't do much during this location. I remember it was, for some reason, I stayed up really late on a Wednesday. And so about 12:30, when I got to get up at 6:30, I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, it's time to go to bed. Let's just play a couple games of Snap. And then I realized, oh, man, this location has been going already all day, and I haven't had a chance to play any of it. So at about that time, it's too late for me to sit there and like put a lot of brain power towards the deck because I need to go to sleep. So I didn't get to play much, and I wanted to Legion this thing so bad because I wanted to mess people up. And I did see some complaints about this one on Reddit. They felt that it was not a fun location. I find stuff like this fun if I can throw a wrench into somebody's stuff and use it to my advantage. Like, discard a card. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to be playing Khonshu or something. I want to be playing cards that need discarded.
Yeah.
So in Legion at the same time, then turn 6 rolls around and I got a nice advantage. But unfortunately, I didn't do it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I was just using my Khonshu deck mainly. I didn't tailor anything to it. I was just already using that. I'm like, oh, this will work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose a card you need and get a random card, more often than not, it's not going to work in your favor.
Yeah, because the deck that you've put together has a theme, and usually, unless you're running Arishem, and you've got something that, you could also tailor it to be some of those cards that are taking advantage of created cards now.
Yeah.
That is our discussion of Prehistoric Avengers. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.